Hello and welcome to Wisdom Workshop. Today we're going to talk about the various tools you need to become financially stable and successful. Before we start, please like the video and subscribe with all notifications turned on to show your support to our channel. Almost everyone on the planet has a perspective on what financial success means to them. Some people describe financial success as having enough funds to take care of their loved ones and have a pleasant place to live, whereas others describe it as being capable of retiring securely with no liabilities. And yet others believe it means having millions to give away and help the poor, and so forth. Being financially solid, regardless of how you look at it, relieves a lot of stress from a person. It means not worrying about how your family will feed or where they will live. This is comparable to having a great weight lifted off one's back. It's reassuring to know that there are procedures and methods in place to ensure your financial success. One method is to invest in assets that can appreciate in value over time. To be competent to choose the proper or acceptable assets to invest in, you must have information, principles, harmony, and a coherent direction of what you want to achieve. So if you want to learn about the many types of assets you might invest in to achieve financial freedom, keep watching the video. Now let's talk about the assets. Number 1. Mutual funds. A mutual fund is essentially an investment instrument in which several participants combine their capital under the supervision of a fund manager who invests on their behalf. It may alternatively be characterized as a collection of resources owned collectively, with the proceeds distributed proportionally. Treasury bonds, treasury bills, equities, and other assets that grow in value are the primary investments. Mutual funds are a very appealing asset because of their diversity, and they're a fantastic alternative for increasing your cash and net worth. One of the benefits is that they may easily be obtained through a variety of investment companies. This asset also has various tax advantages depending on the investment vehicles employed, making it a preferable choice for most investors. Another point to keep in mind is that investors aren't advised on where and how to invest because they don't control the assets in which their money is transferred. If this doesn't worry you, mutual funds might be the answer. Number 2. A high-yield savings account. In principle, a high-yield savings account will pay you more interest than a standard savings account. Unfortunately, the hazards of a high-yield account are greater than those of a conventional account. Everything in our world has a danger, but the sensible approach to deal with it is to recognize the threat and put some safeguards in place. This asset will provide you with a decent return on your investment, and the greater you invest, the larger the return. Rates will of course be affected if the economy is suffering, but in the majority of situations, you'll still receive a great return. When investing in this asset, it's critical to conduct research to identify the reputable market participants who have been tested and have established a strong reputation. This reduces the possibility of being duped and losing your money. Investing in high-yield savings accounts has assisted numerous individuals become independently wealthy. While a traditional savings account may make you feel safer, the rewards are quite low. If you want to achieve financial independence, grab the opportunity and open a high-yield account. Number 3. Bonds. A bond is described as a debt made by an investor to a borrower. The lender might be the general population, a person, or a group of enterprises. The borrower is usually the government or a firm. Payment conditions or the amount of interest to be paid, as well as the maturity time, have always been specified. Bonds are exchangeable assets. In most circumstances, they give the lender a set revenue. The rate of interest is permanently fixed, so you always know how much you'll collect when the bond matures. This ensures you may be confident that your money will continue to rise. When selecting a bond, you must conduct due investigation to determine which asset will fit into your investing portfolio. This is a safe method of attaining financial success. Number 4. A certificate of deposit. This is a document issued by a bank to a person who deposits money with the bank for an agreed-upon length of time at a fixed interest rate. This is a wonderful strategy to make your asset increase in value, especially if you don't need the money for a while. Instead of sitting in a no-interest account, it's better to make money in a cash deposit account. This is a low-risk investment that often does not yield a high rate of interest. The certificate of deposit is obtained from your preferred financial institution. To guarantee that your money is safe, make sure that the bank has deposit insurance in place so that if the bank fails, your money will be safe. When you deposit money, the bank will give you the agreed upon interest. When the deposit expires, you'll get your original cash deposit plus any accumulated interest. This asset assists you in making money, and you may select how much wealth you want to produce based on the quantity of money invested and the length of time. It's important to remember that, like practically everything else, the interest rate on cash deposits is impacted by swings in inflation rates. Certificates of deposits may become less appealing during periods when interest rates are extremely high. Number 5. Private equity. Private equity refers to capital investments made in privately held enterprises. Private equity is more appealing to investors than public stocks because it provides higher returns. Private equity allows you to invest in and gain ownership of a private company activity. This might be an established organization or a new venture. This implies that the investor will receive a percentage of the earnings as well as a lump amount if the firm is eventually sold. This type of stock needs a significant investment, and the investors must be accredited or venture capitalists. Investing in a firm that you have not begun is dangerous, and much research is required in this case. Nevertheless, if you manage to invest in and select the correct private equity, the rewards may be extremely profitable, propelling you to financial success. Number 6. Real estate. Real estate is also known as real property, and it consists of land and everything permanently related to it. Real estate might take the shape of undeveloped land, industrial, commercial, or even residential property. Real estate is often regarded as one of the most valuable assets. Numerous individuals have accumulated their money through purchasing and selling real estate, developing rents for both residential and commercial use, developing and selling property, agriculture, and many other activities. When you acquire and hold property for a period of time, you're more likely to profit than when you just buy and sell. The time component is crucial with this asset since it tends to rise or appreciate in price over time. You could buy land in a relatively desolate region, but after a few years, you'll see that more buyers have moved into the region and transformed the territory, making it more valuable than it was before. Most properties improve in value over time, and it's difficult to find property that's degrading in value unless it's in an area with buildings that have been abandoned for decades. Even in this circumstance, the value of the land will continue to rise. Although real estate is a very appealing asset for financial success, it also carries significant hazards that one must research and be aware of before investing. A real estate bubble has occurred in several places of the world, and while it usually lasts just a short time, it may have a negative impact on this asset. There are also numerous scam artists and crooks in the industry, which might result in losses if sufficient due diligence is not performed. But don't be too concerned. Real estate still continues to be a profitable and novice-friendly method to accumulate wealth, thanks to extensive investigations and rules in place to safeguard you. Number 7. Collections. Many people like accumulating keepsakes as a pastime. The odd thing is that many of us are unaware of how beneficial some of these things may be. Even if you have to spend money on the collecting procedure, you'll be satisfied with the results. The primary danger here is that you can't foresee whether the things or assets will be valuable at a later date. This is when your research comes in helpful. You'll have a good notion of how much similar goods are now worth. This is especially true if you're a novice collector. This is simple for veteran collectors who have been in the market for a long time and have gathered knowledge. Here are some profitable collections you might begin with. Number 1. Fine art pieces. You should be aware that buying artworks can be costly, but if you choose the appropriate piece, you'll receive your money's worth. Look for well-known performers as well as those who are gaining prominence. Number 2. Automobiles from the past. If you enjoy getting your hands filthy, you may buy an antique automobile, restore it, and resell it for a profit. This is a famous collection despite its high price. Number 3. Wines and spirits that have been fermented or developed for a long time. They're in short supply on the market, and these are just a few examples of the goods that people collect. Others include silverware, one-of-a-kind home goods, clothing, jewelry, and a variety of other precious assets that'll generate money when the time comes. Lastly, at number 8, stocks. A stock is a type of asset that grants the owner possession of a portion of a company, institution, or enterprise. The owner receives a percentage of the corporation's revenue and assets. The amount granted is determined on the amount of investment made. A share is the name given to each unit of a stock. The procedure of purchasing and selling stocks is governed by federal rules to safeguard shareholders from mistakes that may result in the loss of their investment. The stock market is the most popular place to buy and sell equities. Almost every country on the planet has a stock market, and the United States has many, including the New York Stock Exchange and the National Association of Securities Dealers Automatic Quotation System. The London Stock Exchange exists in the United Kingdom, and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange exists in South Africa. Many stockbrokers now work remotely to simplify the process for investors. However, due investigation must be performed in order to identify real brokers. Individuals can purchase and sell online as well. Long-term investors in this asset typically reap large gains, especially if the firm is performing well and the share price is continually rising. This implies that the dividends are likewise favorable. Finally, we have all equal possibilities out there. Let's continue to be encouraged to go out and invest in things that will plainly enhance our everyday lives and provide ourselves with financial independence. If you enjoyed this video, please do like the video and subscribe with all notifications turned on so that you won't miss out on our upcoming inspirational videos to help you become wiser.